All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are all having an outstanding day, night. Let me just make sure that we're up, like we're functional here, guys. Look, I want to make sure that we are good to go here. Give me 1 second. I apologize a little bit for the, might have a little bit slight echo. Let me see if I can, where's my, how do I change this thing? Okay, yeah, that's perfect. All right. So, guys, I'm really excited to share a number of things with all of you following up our live stream that we did yesterday talking about none other than the Xbox Game Showcase. We talked about I shouldn't say all, but I should say a lot of the games. Let's drop that right there. A lot of the games that were revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase. And what I want to go ahead and do here today is break down not only the things that we saw, break down the things that we, the major talking points. And, you know, I've had close to 24 hours to kind of dissect and break down everything in my brain of what I want to get out there about the, Xbox Game Showcase, the Summer Game Fest. And I really want to talk about all these things with you guys here in this live stream. And so with that being said, guys, let us go ahead and let's just kind of jump into this. And as you guys are joining us in the live stream, I'm going to kind of take reference to a number of different things. So first of all, we're going to talk State of Decay 3. I also want to talk about some of the things that were announced, more so, guys, related to horror titles, horror games, things of that nature. We definitely got some stuff that over the course of the last couple of days from the Summer Game Fest, as well as Xbox Game Showcase, that we can somewhat break down and talk about. Before we do that, though, what I'm going to do, guys, is I want to preface this by saying, because we got the question on the live stream yesterday, hey, did you guys like the Xbox Game Showcase or did you like Summer Game Fest more? And, this is a really interesting question, guys. I would have to tell you that I think the best, or I should say the better showcase was certainly Summer Game Fest, probably because they announced more horror-related games. There were certainly things I enjoyed about the Xbox Game Showcase, and we're going to get to those things here shortly, but I would say that the Summer Game Fest was just overall a better experience than the Xbox Game Showcase. Not saying the Xbox Game Showcase was trash. I'm not saying that. Part of it is, look, selfishly, I wanted to see State of Decay 3. I wanted to at least get like a release date, I thought it was the best opportunity on the planet for State of Decay 3 to get a release date announcement, to get something. I mean, obviously, guys, we got the second trailer for the for State of Decay 3, which I thought was great. I thought, we kind of found out more about where they're going with this, because obviously we had the first trailer that came out, and I actually thought that they were kind of changing some of the formula of State of Decay as we know it, moving into State of Decay 3. Then we got the second trailer, and it looks like, okay, we're getting a little bit more of the same, but enhanced graphics, maybe even a snippet of what could be gameplay in that second trailer. We didn't see any zombie animals, which is what we saw from the first trailer to the second, which is okay. I mean, I would have liked to see a little bit more variety, and maybe there was some new zombies that they introduced in the second trailer. I just didn't, notice it. But nonetheless, I'm going to tell you that was the major issue I had with the Xbox Game Showcase, is that we got nothing in relation to State of Decay 3. And like I said, we didn't need like this massive, full-blown gameplay trailer. I think it would have been great to have that, and at the end of the gameplay trailer, have the release date. That did not happen, though. So what we did get was Gears of War Reloaded. we got Gears of War Reloaded, which is cool. Obviously I'm a massive Gears of War fan. I cover all the Gears of War content, guys. You guys can check out on Animal Zero. That's where all the Gears content is. But here on Horror Theory, we specialize in horror games specifically. And we've been prioritizing State of Decay 3 because I'm a massive State of Decay fan. Jeff is also a massive State of Decay fan. And we have been anticipating, excited. We've been dissecting, breaking down everything that we know about State of Decay 3 at this point in time. And yet, that showcase gave us nothing in relation to State of Decay 3. And you know what? On top of that, when you look back on the Xbox Game Showcase, we really got not much of any horror titles outside of Chronos, which I'll talk about Chronos here, guys. When I look at Chronos, it reminds me kind of a blend of a little bit of some Dead Space, Callisto Protocol, a little bit of some Resident Evil. I thought that Chronos, it looks interesting to me. Am I, over the moon excited about it? No. I mean, I think it'll be a game that maybe can quench our thirst, I guess you could say, for, in terms of like a survival horror game. But it's not going to quench the thirst in a major way, I think, for those of us who are waiting for State of Decay 3. So let's, like I said, Chronos is coming to us from Bloober Team. That's something to look forward to because we did get a release window being fall of 2025. So, obviously fall of this year, we're going to be getting Chronos. And I think that Chronos The New Dawn will probably release Halloween. I would say it's probably going to be like a Halloween release or something of that nature. But do I think it's going to quench our thirst for State of Decay 3? I don't. I think it should be a good game to play, though, nonetheless. I would say that the primary games that we should be really excited about, that we have release dates for, to really quench our thirst for State of Decay 3, even though they're somewhat, they're not necessarily your zombie, survival simulation like State of Decay 3 is, because State of Decay 3 is, or I really should say the State of Decay franchise as a whole, there's really nothing quite like it. But I can tell you guys that the things that are going to absolutely quench my thirst for State of Decay 3 is going to be a few titles. Number one, now Chronos could be something, but that's kind of something that's more of a dark horse for me. It could be really good. It might not be. It's hard to say really at this point. But I would say the first game that's coming out very soon is, Gears of War Reloaded, I'm very excited about. I think that's going to be great. It's, Gears of War Reloaded, guys, for those of you who don't know, that is going to be a remaster of Gears of War 1, which it's a shooter, guys. It's a third-person shooter. It's not really necessarily a horror game, but it has horror elements in it, right? So I'm very excited for Gears of War Reloaded. Vandalism says Fable wasn't on it either. I totally agree, man. I'm very concerned about Fable. And if you guys watched the stream, our VOD from yesterday, Jeff and I were talking about how we're starting to get more and more concerned about State of Decay 3, but we're very concerned about Fable. I'm actually incredibly concerned about Fable. I think Fable is going to... I think that there are some significant levels of development hell going on over there within the Fable ecosystem. We've been waiting and just not much news. It's kind of concerning. Now, State of Decay 3, guys, that is in development hell as well. Make no mistake about it. There are issues happening at Undead Labs. Whether we want to believe it or not, it's happening. I mean, look, when you hear a studio like Undead Labs, I was talking about this yesterday, when you have a studio that has to get help from the Coalition and from Obsidian, and a lot of times you might think, hey, dude, it's good. The more people, the more hands on deck, the better. But if you can't handle your shit in-house, we might have some problems going on. Because number one, Obsidian guys, those are the guys who are working on the Outer Worlds 2, as well as Grounded 2, which we saw Grounded 2 at the Xbox Game Showcase, which looked pretty, definitely interesting. I wasn't a massive fan of Grounded, but it definitely looks like they've created some quality of life improvements to Grounded 2, which is awesome. What I'm saying, though, is Obsidian has their own projects they're working on, and now they're helping Undead Labs with State of Decay 3. And then on the flip side, you have the Coalition, who not only have a game coming out in 2 months, that being Gears of War Reloaded, but then on top of that, they have Gears of War E-Day. And those guys are also helping with State of Decay 3. So... I gotta tell you, I'm pretty concerned right now about State of Decay 3. And it's not so much because, I think the game is, doesn't look good. It doesn't, have certain improvements and stuff from what we've seen from the trailers and stuff. What I'm saying is I don't know if there's creative differences happening at Undead Labs. I don't know if they're getting pushback from the higher-ups at Xbox. It's really hard to say, guys, the issues that they are facing right now. But there's been a lot of talk, rumor, speculation about the work conditions and things of that nature at Undead Labs. Now, a lot of these things, you have to take with a pinch of salt, because there's been people who were former workers at Undead Labs saying that the work environment wasn't good, and, the higher-ups weren't really good to work with, things of that nature. But once again, you got to kind of take those things with a pinch of salt when you have, current or former employees that are coming out and saying things about, about working at Undead Labs. But make no mistake, there is concern there. There's more concern. Jeff and I agreed yesterday that there's more concern about Fable right now, for sure. We've had radio silence. Yes, we got a second trailer, obviously, for Fable. What was it? A couple of Xbox showcases ago. But it's been radio silent, and it's just been years upon years of development. And it's like, where are we at? It's kind of like, I think of games like Elder Scrolls 6. Now, sure, Bethesda's working on other stuff, but man, we got a overview cinematic of Elder Scrolls 6. And radio silence since then. I mean, was it like 2017, 2016 when we got that reveal of Elder Scrolls 6, and it's been completely radio silent? I mean, yes, we got, Oblivion remastered. So they're working on other stuff. They're releasing other stuff. But when you have a game like Fable, and you have a game like State of Decay 3 that you don't hear much from, and then all of a sudden you get another cinematic trailer. Now, sure, State of Decay 3's trailer 2, it looks like we got a glimpse of what the gameplay could be, but it wasn't a true gameplay trailer. It was still, once again, another cinematic trailer, in engine. And so, I don't know, guys. State of Decay 3, fingers crossed that we're still tracking for 2026, because the last that we heard from Undead Labs was obviously they delayed the game from 2025 to 2026. And I'm really hoping that they can stick to the 2026 release date. Now, that being said, on the flip side, if the game's not ready, if it's not well polished, refined, there's a bunch of bugs, issues, things of that nature, just wait it out until the game is ready to go. We do not want to have a Cyberpunk 2077 kind of release with State of Decay 3 where, for those who didn't know, Cyberpunk 2077 was one of the most anticipated games of all time. And it released early to please investors, and it was buggy, glitchy. I mean, it was almost unplayable on consoles at launch. And so CD Projekt Red, they had to double down. They had to cancel the multiplayer. They had to, really move a lot of resource and development in order to get the game right. And what's awesome about that story is CD Projekt Red, they made the game, they focused everything they had on Cyberpunk 2077, and I believe now, to this day, one of the best games of all time. So from the start, it was really bad. And I believe Cyberpunk 2077 would be absolutely massive at this point if the game just waited, that being CD Projekt Red, if they would have just waited to release it, it would be one of the biggest games on planet Earth. Like, I really believe that. And so with State of Decay 3, you do not want to mess this up. Vandalism asks, how bad is it for State of Decay 3? I'm really hyped for the game. I'm really hyped for it as well, man. I don't think it's as bad as where we are with Fable, but I think it's bad. You know, when you've got multiple other studios that are helping Undead Labs, they can't handle all of the things in-house. That's a problem. It's a problem. And so, you know, I'm getting more and more concerned about it because we don't have a release date. Now, if they had nothing to show, they didn't have a definite release date, that's fine. You know, you can wait on, we can wait on it, but it's just concerning when you got a lot of radio silence where you're not hearing much from Undead Labs, whether it's on their social media, websites, things of that nature. That's where you start getting a little bit of some concern brewing. The other thing is we didn't get a release date for Gears of War E-Day. We got obviously Gears of War Reloaded is their primary, focal point right now because it comes out in 2 months. Comes out like August 26th of this year, which is awesome. And Gears of War Reloaded looks great. I'm very excited about it. And I would say, they're going to be doing a beta, which at first, when they released the trailer for Gears of War Reloaded, they didn't show that there was a beta that was happening. But then we found out through social media and stuff, according to Gears of War and the Coalition, they're going to have two betas basically for 2 consecutive weeks. So it's going to be starting this upcoming weekend. They're going to have one starting on Friday, I believe, to Sunday. And then the week after, they're going to be doing another beta to make sure everything's polished, ready to go for when the game releases. Because I stated yesterday, guys, in our watch party for the Xbox Game Showcase, that I was concerned that they were not doing a beta, or at least they didn't announce a beta right then and there during the Xbox Game Showcase. And if they did, guys, I totally missed it. But because you want to make sure that the game's polished, it's refined, it's ready to go, especially from a multiplayer perspective. If you go all the way back to Gears of War 2, that multiplayer was unplayable at launch for a lot of people. I mean, it was terrible. You couldn't even get into lobbies. It was so bad. And so them doing an actual beta or 2 betas, 2 weekends of the beta is going to be massive for that game. Getting back to State of Decay 3, guys, I think that don't hit the panic button yet. I think, Jeff made an interesting point yesterday during the live stream where he stated, listen, Dead Island 2, when that came out, it was I guess I should say, like, before it came out, there was a ton of delays, changing of hands, creative differences, all this different stuff. And when the game released, you know, it had some of the best, like, zombie models we've seen in gaming, you know, going back to when it released, right? Obviously, the models have changed and, you know, it looks a lot better now. But back then, guys, when Dead Island 2 came out, you know, people were very concerned about Dead Island 2 because it had so many delays, so many, you know, just internal issues from what we were hearing from rumors and stuff. And when the game released, it was like, wow, this is actually, you know, the character models, the zombie models, this is great. And Dead Island 2, I think, is it's a really solid entry in that franchise. However, just because it's Dead Island, that doesn't mean it's going to translate for State of Decay. And so I think we got to trust the process. That was kind of the thing that Jeff was stating yesterday, was trust the process. Like, if Undead Labs needs more time, should they be totally radio silent? Absolutely not, guys. They should just, like, let us know, hey, guys, like, here's a screenshot. We're still working on the game. Like, we're getting closer. We're going to have something here soon to tell you. Like, we're like, stay tuned. We're going to give you guys something. Jojo says, despite Dead Island's late release, the game is like a breath of fresh air. Yeah, I felt like I went back in time when playing it. Yeah, you know, Dead Island 2, I think that's I love Jeff making that point for yesterday during the live stream, because I think it's something to look at, where it's like, just because a game keeps getting delayed, sometimes it's not a bad thing. It just means it's not ready yet. And you know, so we'll have to wait and see what the story, how this happens and how it unfolds for State of Decay 3 specifically. So what we're talking about, guys, is you know, how Dead Island 2 and that release schedule and all of the delays and the issues they had, you know, before launch. And then when the game launched, it was like, wow, this is actually way better than people thought it was going to be. And they took their time with it. And on the flip side, we see a game, like I mentioned earlier, Cyberpunk 2077, released early to please investors, and look at the disaster that was. So State of Decay 3 taking their time, yes, is their concern? Absolutely. The main reason why I'm concerned, guys, is because of they've got multiple other studios helping them. And those other studios are working on other things. The Coalition's working on Gears. Obsidian's working on Outer Worlds and Grounded 2. And they are also helping Undead Labs figure out State of Decay 3. That's concerning to me. That is concerning. But all in all, guys, you know, kind of, you know, we're going over a number of things here with State of Decay 3. And I want you guys to know that no matter what happens here, we're going to be covering it here on Horror Theory. We're going to be covering all the rumors, the speculation, any news that drops about State of Decay 3. We are going to be talking about it, dissecting it inside and out, okay? So let's talk forward here. Moving forward. What are the things that we can look forward to now? Well, I'm excited for Gears of War Reloaded, okay? We talked about this yesterday during the live stream or the watch party. I'm excited for Gears of War Reloaded. Yes, guys, I know it's not a horror game. It's got horror elements to it as a third-person shooter, but I am excited about that. I think that's going to give us something to look forward to, for sure. That comes in August. I would say, secondly, another big one is Dying Light the Beast. And I'm really excited about Dying Light the Beast. Talk about a game, guys, that we got the announcement for. I want to double check this really quick, and I'll be switching screens here in a sec. I just want to see, I can't remember quite the actual release date for this. So August 27th, wait a minute. Oh, no, that's not right. Is that right? Hold up. Let me see this. Did they announce it for August 22nd? I didn't even know that. I thought it was... Let's see. According to Wikipedia, it's saying that the release is August 22nd, 2025. Here, I'll show you guys what I'm kind of like looking at here. So you guys can see right here the release date, August 22nd of 2025. You know, and, you know, I think Dying Light the Beast, guys, is something we can absolutely look forward to. I think it looks really, really solid. I'm not saying that this is gonna, I'm saying that this could quench our thirst for a period of time. Now, look, it's different, right? It's not third person, first person, you know, title that's going to be coming out. But at the same time, it is a survival horror title. And so, you know, I thought that the first Dying Light was good. Second one I really liked, actually. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the second game. And the third one now, The Beast, I think it's going to be, I think it could be something pretty special. I really do. It looks great. Story looks pretty intense. They're adding a number of quality of life things to it. So the other thing that I really like is right here. The game supports 4-player cooperative multiplayer, similar to the predecessors. I love this. It's going to be really cool that you're going to be able to play with your friends and stuff. You know, with State of Decay, guys, I think what we love so much about State of Decay is, yeah, you can play the game by yourself, right? And there's a real sense of like community, but also playing with your friends is something that's really integral to State of Decay and what makes it, you know, it kind of got elevated within State of Decay 2, was being able to play with your friends, whether we're talking cooperatively, multiplayer perspectives, you know, and I think those are things that I think a lot of us are really excited about with State of Decay 3 is the enhanced graphics to, you know, there were a number of bugs and glitches and stuff when State of Decay 2 came out with the multiplayer and the co-op modes and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited to see a lot of those things fleshed out and ready to go at launch for State of Decay 3. But once again, Dying Like the Beast, guys, this is certainly, I'm not going to say like my most anticipated title, but I will say that it is without question one that piques my interest in a major way moving into you know, I guess you could say late summer, right? August of this year. I mean, we got August 22nd is Dying Light the Beast. August 26th, you have Gears of War Reloaded, which, you know what, guys? I think that's going to be really, I think that's going to be really exciting because kind of I'm probably going to be flip-flopping between Gears of War Reloaded and, of course, Gears of War Reloaded and Dying Light the Beast. But yeah, let me know, like, what do you guys think about that? Let's kind of talk with the chat here. Vandalism says we need some trailers or preview letting us know that they are okay. I agree. I think if we get, if we just got like a snippet of like something, and I know there were some people that were telling us yesterday that there were some cryptic messages that Undead Labs had given before the Xbox Game Showcase where people thought, oh, they're definitely going to be at the showcase. I thought that they were for sure going to be at the showcase as well, but that's not what happened. And it would be great if they were to just tell us, you know, hey guys, we're still here. You guys can expect something from us during the fall showcase or something like that. I have no idea if they're going to do an Xbox showcase in the fall or when the next one will be. I know the summer one is typically the biggest one for Xbox. They kind of show off a lot of their heavy hitters. And bro, don't get me started on that Call of Duty trailer. Myself and Jeff were completely gobsmacked, flabbergasted of what was shown for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 yesterday. And guys, if you guys go back on my like personal YouTube channel, Animal Zero, you'll see I have created so much Call of Duty content over the years. And I got to tell you, that was the worst Call of Duty trailer I have ever seen. Ever. I mean, while we're watching it, I'm like, this looks weird. It was like, is this Halo? Is this Mass Effect? Like, what is this? And with the butterfly flying around during that trailer, I was like, dude, if they announce this as a Call of Duty, I am going to be absolutely shell-shocked. And sure enough, Xbox might be ruining Call of Duty as we know it, going back to back with Black Ops 6 this year, or I should say last year, Black Ops 7 this year. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me, bro? Like, they could have done a Modern Warfare 4. They could have done a Call of Duty Ghosts 2, an Advanced Warfare 2, Infinite Warfare 2. I mean, they wouldn't probably have done Infinite Warfare 2 because of how the backlash there. But doing a Black Ops 7 right off of the heels of a Black Ops 6 makes no sense. Vandalism says, I'm dumbfounded about COD BO7. I don't know why they're making it every year. Look, well, they have done Call of Duties every year for a long time now. So I'm not surprised about that. What I'm surprised about is this is the first time that I can remember that they are doing a, back-to-back within the same sub-series of the overarching franchise of Call of Duty. So you're doing a back-to-back Black Ops. It's not like you're doing a Black Ops 6 last year and then this year you're doing a Modern Warfare 4 or a Call of Duty Ghosts 2 or an Advanced Warfare 2. By the looks of it, this Call of Duty definitely seems futuristic to me. It looks very futuristic. It looks... it kind of reminds me of Infinite Warfare. Looking back on the trailer, it reminds me of Infinite Warfare a little bit. And once again, it's just an intro or just a teaser trailer. But I got to tell you, man, the Black Ops 7, that trailer, I don't care. I love Call of Duty, guys. I'm even wearing the Call of Duty League shirt right now. I don't care what anybody tells me. Call of Duty Black Ops 7's reveal trailer was the worst Call of Duty trailer I have ever witnessed, ever seen. And I don't know if it's even close. I mean, the Infinite Warfare trailer was one that we were like, oh man, dude, they're really doubling down on these jetpacks. We're doing jetpacks for a third time in a row, and people were so sick of the jetpacks, once Infinite Warfare came around, because we had Advanced Warfare, then you had Black Ops 3, and then you got, Infinite Warfare, and people were really sick of the jetpacks by that point. And based on the backlash that Xbox is getting for Black Ops 7, it feels like a significant cash grab. That's what it feels like. It feels like instead of doing like a DLC for Black Ops 6, they're just like, oh, dude, we're just going to do another Black Ops title because Black Ops 6 sold so well. I'm going to say something, and I'm going to be interested in what you guys say. And trust me, guys, we're going to be getting back to the horror games. I promise. But I got to get this off my chest because that trailer was the worst Call of Duty trailer I've ever seen. Here's what I'll say is I think that Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will be the worst selling Call of Duty. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I think it's going to be the worst selling Call of Duty that we've seen in probably at least 5 years. I would say maybe even of the decade. I really do. I think that now if it's day one on Xbox Game Pass, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people playing it because if you have an Xbox, Game Pass subscription, you'll be able to play it. But I'm saying physical sales or digital sales, I believe it's going to be the worst of the last 5-10 years. I really do. I think that there's going to be some serious pushback. Call of Duty has a massive, ravenous fan base. Lots of people love Call of Duty. They'll buy it every year. It doesn't matter what it is. They've got this cult following. But that trailer, I'm telling you, that was the worst Call of Duty trailer I've ever seen. And now that Xbox owns Activision Blizzard, that's basically your first full-blown reveal of a Call of Duty since owning Activision Blizzard. I mean, I know, guys, they've had them since Black Ops 6, but I'm just saying, like, now that they're getting into the yearly rotation of a new Call of Duty every year being held by Xbox, that was some trash. Let me know what you guys think about that. But Jojo says, I stopped playing Call of Duty. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Yeah. I mean, I play Call of Duty every year. I at least will try the new COD to see, any changes, things of that nature. I love playing the 2v2 gunfight. I love 2v2. I can just jump in with one of my friends and we can, kind of search and destroy style mixed with gun game. I love that. It's a lot of fun, high energy, competitive, and it is, there's definitely some challenges to it as well, but it really teaches you a lot of like communication, teamwork, things of that nature, kind of like search and destroy, but smaller teams. So I love 2v2 gunfight. But let's get back to this Summer Games Fest Xbox Game Showcase. I want to talk about, since we already talked about Chronos, which I'm excited about, I'm like, okay, that might quench our thirst a little bit when it comes to survival horror for State of Decay 3. What else is there that could quench our thirst? Dying Light the Beast, certainly. I mean, Gears of War, like I said, Reloaded, even though it's, like I said, it's a shooter more than a horror game, but it does have horror elements to it. Gears of War Reloaded, I'll be playing a lot. Dying Light the Beast comes out, a few days before Gears of War Reloaded. So I would say Dying Light the Beast, Gears of War Reloaded, those are the two games to kind of hold us over while we're waiting for more information about State of Decay 3. And then the big one. The biggest one, guys. The biggest game that... One of my most anticipated games now of the future, without question, Resident Evil Requiem. Got announced at Summer Game Fest, and I guess I'll say this, between both of the showcases, Summer Game Fest, Xbox Game Showcase, Resident Evil Requiem is now my most anticipated game between both of those showcases. Of all the games they showed, that game has piqued my interest in a major way. I am incredibly excited for Resident Evil Requiem. I think that is going to certainly be a title, because it comes out February 27th of 2026. We got a release date as well as the reveal trailer. Capcom, they have got their shit together, guys. Now we'll see, like maybe they have to delay the game or something of that nature at some point, but I am on cloud nine with Resident Evil Requiem. I think that game is going to be something special. And I want to kind of, I want to preface this by, there was this really interesting article that came out. Jeff and I were talking about Resident Evil Requiem yesterday during the live stream, and I thought that, I said Ethan, I thought was going to be the main character. I thought I saw a report about that, and that Grace Ashcroft was going to be kind of like a side character, or maybe she would be there, but you would be kind of switching between a multitude of characters in this one. Well, actually, I was wrong. It wasn't the rumor that came out that I was reading about. It wasn't Ethan. It was Leon. And I found the article that I saw this in, and I wanted to kind of share it with you guys. Let me switch screens here. So this is what I saw, guys. I saw this. This is coming to us from The Gamer. Joshua Robertson over there, he created this article stating that Leon will reportedly be the main character in Resident Evil Requiem, and it won't focus on Raccoon City. Now, listen, guys, you're going to have to take all this stuff with a pinch of salt. Some of these things that they're talking about, we got to kind of, like I said, take it with a pinch of salt, right? Well, obviously, guys, Resident Evil Requiem, it was announced during the Summer Game Fest with a reveal trailer introducing the new character, Grace Ashcroft. What's interesting is Grace looks to be fairly important to the story, but insider Dusk Golem has reiterated that Leon Kennedy is still the game's main character, and that will play as him far more than Grace. They also claim that Raccoon City is not the primary setting for Resident Evil Requiem, and that it's just a place that we'll visit throughout the game. So, after baiting us a couple of times, and being far more coy than they needed to be, Capcom finally put us all out of our misery during Summer Game Fest by announcing Resident Evil Requiem, the 9th mainline installment in the series. Before the show, it had been claimed by reputable Capcom insider Dusk Golem that Resident Evil Requiem would star Leon Kennedy, but the game's first trailer suggested anything but. I agree. I think it definitely did not give us any indication that it was going to be Leon as the main playable character. Now, Dusk Golem, guys, listen. This is a guy who has leaked and revealed certain things, some true, some not. So take it with a pinch of salt, right? But it'd be very interesting to see if this was a game similar to Resident Evil Outbreak, if we would play as, like, if we would not only play as Grace, but we also play as Leon. Because if you remember, I never played Resident Evil Outbreak, but I remember watching gameplay and, you know, kind of diving into some of the lore and things of that nature of it. You can play a number of different playable characters. I think it was like 9 playable characters or something of that nature within Resident Evil Outbreak. Grace's mother, Alyssa Ashcroft, was one of the playable characters in Resident Evil Outbreak. You'll see this right here. Instead, the reveal trailer seemed to focus on a character called Grace Ashcroft, who is the daughter of Resident Evil Outbreak star Alyssa Ashcroft. It even has a mysterious man in a chair who we can assume will be a villain of some kind, claiming that Grace Ashcroft is the one that I've been searching for and the special one. Which is, look, very interesting stuff, guys. Now, Dusk Golem, this is what he tweeted on X. I'll say this now, before my trailer breakdown. Leon is the main character of Resident Evil 9 Requiem. You won't fully see him for a bit, though. He is in the trailer. Oh, wait. I messed that up. You won't fully see him for a bit, though he is in the trailer. But in the final game, you play far more as Leon than Grace. Become more obvious as marketing continues into the final game. So look, obviously Dusk Golem he is an insider, right? Over, like, with Capcom and everything. But take it with a pinch of salt. We have, at this point, with Resident Evil Requiem, we have no indication that Leon is the main character. Grace seems to be the focal point. We'll have to wait and see. I believe we're going to be getting more information, guys, about Resident Evil Requiem at Gamescom, where people are actually going to be able to play the game. We're going to know a lot more then. We're going to know if what Dusk is saying is 1,000% true, or if maybe partially true, or whatever. But I just take it with a pinch of salt right now. Despite all of this, Dusk Golem is still pretty adamant that Leon Kennedy is considered the main character of Resident Evil Requiem, and that we will play as him far more than Grace Ashcroft. They also claim that Leon is actually in the Resident Evil Requiem trailer, though it's not entirely obvious, and that the game's focus on Leon will become more apparent in future marketing. What do I think about this? I actually would love this. I mean, I think it would be really cool because when you think about it, when we go back to Village, we go back to Biohazard, you know, we really haven't had in recent memory where you're playing as a multitude of different characters, right? It's been, you know, the primary focus has been on one character, and I'm really excited to see where they go here with Resident Evil Requiem. This is my most, guys, besides State of Decay 3, and of course Gears of War, this is my most anticipated game of the future. Like, this is the game, guys. Like, if you look no further than what Capcom is doing with Resident Evil Requiem, I think that this absolutely will be a very special title when it releases, just based on what we've seen so far from it. I think that's going to be really interesting. Now, here's another thing. Interestingly, Dusk Golem also goes on to make another claim that seems to be counter to what was shown in Resident Evil Requiem's trailer. Like I said, guys, this is why we want to take all this stuff with a pinch of salt. In response to a ex-user complaining about seemingly going back to Raccoon City, Dusk Golem claims that it is not the primary setting and that it will simply be a place that is visited throughout the course of the game, which would be very interesting because it seems like in the trailer there's a heavy emphasis on Raccoon City after the nuke, right? So I don't know. I mean, it could very well, I could totally see it going either way. It being a primary setting or just being a place that you go to for a period of time. I could totally see that. When I was talking to Jeff yesterday on our watch party for the showcase, I had mentioned that Resident Evil Requiem seems like it was taking some things from Village as well as some things from Biohazard. Biohazard's my personal favorite, guys. I loved Biohazard. I thought it was... Resident Evil to me has always felt like that dark, gritty style horror game. Now, I'm not saying like, my first Resident Evil I really dove, head on into was Resident Evil 5. And that was, your third-person shooter, survival horror title. And I loved that for what it was. I loved the change of tone and pace with Biohazard because I didn't like Resident Evil 6 at all. I really did not like 6. I thought it was a major step in the wrong direction for the franchise, but nonetheless, Biohazard made up for it. And Village, I think I think they're just kind of almost outdoing themselves in certain ways. So I like the formula that they're moving into with Village, where they have horror elements, but they also have that action involved as well. Whereas Biohazard was more your very dark, gritty horror title. And so there's things that you can take away from both of them. But once again, I am very excited to see more of Requiem because it definitely seems like they're leaning pretty heavily into the horror, but they're also looks like they're going to lean somewhat into the action as well, like maybe what we kind of saw from Village. But Jeff had mentioned that he thinks that Requiem is going to be totally different from Village and from Requiem, from Village and Biohazard. That's going to be interesting because Jeff Keighley had mentioned, during the Summer Games Fest, that this is a total, like a real change for the franchise in tone as well as in gameplay. So we'll see what that looks like. But look, of course, now it makes you wonder exactly where the game will be set or whether it will go full Resident Evil 6 and have us traveling all over the place. It was rumored that Resident Evil 9 wouldn't play like the more modern Resident titles or even the remakes, as Dusk Golem claimed the game will be a big reinvention for this series. We'll only find out what that means when we get more info about the game, presumably later this year. And they already said, guys, that we're going to be hearing more information at Gamescom. So, with that, Resident Evil 9 Requiem, without question, guys, is my most anticipated game of the future. Now, is there anything else that I'm interested in? Oh, yeah, there is, guys. There is another game that was revealed. Not revealed, but we got another trailer for it. We've had radio silence from this game for a while. This developer is called Team Clout. And Team Clout, guys, they are working on a title, a horror game, that they are now working with the guys and girls over at Mundfish. Though that's the company that made Atomic Heart, and they revealed Atomic Heart 2. Well, they are making a game, and I believe from what I recall was that Team Clout was the only developer of the title when they released the initial trailer. But now we got another trailer for a game called Ill. And I gotta tell you guys something. This game looks unnerving. It looks wild, disturbing, to say the least. I would say that Ill looks to be probably one of the up-and-coming, titles that we can certainly look forward to. This is a game, guys. It's a story-driven survival horror game by Team Clout. Face intense body horror, grotesque monsters, relentless fear to unveil the truth behind madness. And what I really like about this, guys, from the trailer that they showed us over at the Summer Game Fest, was that they're working with Munfish now. And Munfish, just the style, you can tell Munfish is helping Team Clout with this. Because if you guys played Atomic Heart, which, by the way, guys, I think Atomic Heart was a pretty underrated game when that came out. I really enjoyed it, personally. I thought that it was really interesting. But, Ill is... I'll switch screens once again here for you guys. Oops, wrong one. Let's go over here. Okay, so Team Clout. You guys can see here, this is a small indie game, at least is what it kind of felt like. But I got to tell you, the Munfish, these guys are like working together or something of that nature. Maybe the guys over at Team Clout are just kind of taking the engine or working with some of the engine to create some of the character models that they used from like Atomic Heart or like from Munfish. So that's going to be really interesting. But I got to tell you, this looks unnerving. It looks disturbing. And I've got to tell you that this is an anticipated game for me. I'm not as high on Ill as I am for Resident Evil Requiem. That is my most anticipated game right now of the future. Outside of, obviously, guys, I'm really excited. Like we talked earlier, Gears of War Reloaded, Dying Light the Beast. Those are a couple that should be able to quench our thirst while we're waiting for more information for State of Decay 3. Chronos, The New Dawn, seems like an interesting survival horror game. And then we've, of course, so we have Chronos coming out fall 2025. You have Resident Evil Requiem. That's going to be coming out February 27th of 2026. So really, when you think about it, it's going to be here before you know it. Blink an eye, guys. It's going to be here. I'm super excited about that. Ill does not have a release date as of yet. You can wish list it now, which, of course, we already wish listed that shit, guys. Bro, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm actually more excited. I'm not even, like, no bullshit, man. I'm more excited about Ill than I am about Chronos. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait, what? But don't you love Dead Space? Don't you love the Callisto Protocol? I do, guys. I do like those games. I love those games. Chronos, like, I love certain mechanisms, like certain... there's a number of things that Bluebird Team has done within Chronos that's interesting to me. Like the merge effect, where once you kill one character or like one of the enemies, they can merge together to become a bigger enemy. I love that mechanism. That's really interesting. They took a lot of inspiration from The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, which I love. But there's something about Ill that is unnerving. This is a disturbing title, guys, that I think could be something really interesting. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm totally tripping, but at least to me, this looks crazy. Like, it looks really, really wild. The character models, when I'm looking at these character models and stuff, and the story too, it looks like there is an interesting, like a fascinating story, even though, like, you're in this, like, within this world, dude, I'm telling you, this is going to be terrifying. I believe this is going to be a terrifying title. I think it's going to be scarier. And you guys know how I am. I love the scary games. Outlast being one of the scariest games I believe ever created. Alien Isolation, up there, top 5. But this looks scary. Like, I'm not saying Chronos doesn't look scary. It does, but it kind of, it looks, like I said, kind of like your jump scares that you would get in Dead Space, you know, that you would get maybe in the Callisto Protocol. This right here, guys, might be one of the scariest games that we're going to get in the future. I think this could be terrifying. I really do. Now, why is it not going to I don't believe it's going to be quite as scary as like Outlast or Alien Isolation, because you have a weapon, right? Outlast, you are running for your life. And by the way, dude, I can't wait until we get another Outlast game. But nonetheless, I mean, this is something to really look forward to, in my personal opinion. Have you guys checked out Ill? And what do you guys kind of think about this title? Once again, another first-person action horror title that looks to be very dark, gritty, terrifying, you know, disturbing in a number of ways. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about Ill in the comment section down below, as another game that we can look forward to just in the future. With that though, guys, let's talk about this. You know, besides obviously, you know, the obvious games I just mentioned, you know, as we've gone through the stream here, no State of Decay 3 at the Xbox Game Showcase. Very, very unfortunate. I don't know, man. Look, I'm concerned about it. I'm not as concerned, like I said, as we are for Fable. Like, I think Fable, guys, is in a very, very bad spot right now. State of Decay 3 is in a tough spot too. There is no question about it. State of Decay 3 needing all the help that they can to get this thing moving, to get it working. It's certainly concerning to me, but I'm not going to hit the full-blown panic button, because we did. Let me put it like this. If we never got trailer 2, if we never got that at the, what was that, the 2024 Xbox Game Showcase, guys, we would be on full-blown panic mode. If we go another Xbox Game Showcase and we hear nothing of State of Decay 3, I'm probably going to get close to hitting that panic button, because this thing has been in development for a long time. Multiple hands working on it. Undead Labs, the Coalition, Obsidian, all working on this title. There is reason to be concerned. I don't think that we have to panic yet. Trust the process, I think, is something that we should lean on for right now. You don't want a game to release early and then it's a disaster like Cyberpunk 2077 was, or like Gears of War 2 multiplayer was. Do not rush this game. There is so much hype, excitement, anticipation. Guys, we've been creating new content consistently around State of Decay on Horror Theory, and you guys are eating that up. Like, you guys love this content that we're putting out there. So there is a following of State of Decay 3. Make no mistake about it. There are a lot of guys, it's not just me, it's not just Jeff. We love State of Decay. And I know a lot of you guys love it too. And so we are not going to abandon you guys when it comes to State of Decay 3 content. We are going to be pumping out State of Decay 3 content. Now, I will tell you guys, we're going to add other games, other horror games, right, into the mix of the content we're creating. Now, we're going to be, the heavy emphasis is State of Decay 3. We've stated that we're going to be focused primarily on State of Decay 3. However, we're also going to be creating some content. Maybe we'll create some content around Dying Light. It's hard to say if we will or not, guys. I can promise you, though, we are going to be creating content around Resident Evil Requiem. That game I'm very excited about. And obviously, you would want guys who are passionate about, like, you want to see content, right, from people who are passionate about what they're talking about or what they're playing or whatever. We are very passionate about Resident Evil. And so we will create content around Resident Evil Requiem. Okay, so if you're into Resident Evil stuff or Resident Evil or excited about Resident Evil Requiem, definitely, guys, stay tuned. State of Decay 3 is our main focus, though. We want to create a library of content that you guys can take in, like high quality content that you guys can enjoy, of our opinions, thoughts, rumors, speculation, news around State of Decay as a franchise. Specifically, State of Decay 3 is what we're kind of focused on at this point in time. And that's not changing. We are going to be bringing you guys a lot of State of Decay 3 content. Resident Evil Requiem content will be coming out. We might even be creating some content around Ill, potentially Dying Like the Beast, maybe Chronos. Hard to say. You know, we're looking into, you know, the possibility of doing Chronos. At the very least, we might, what we might do, guys, is the video format of the videos that we put out on YouTube, maybe more of the games that we're really passionate about, and then we create the live streams we utilize to show new games that we're playing, like Chronos, Dying Like the Beast, things of that nature. Let me know what you guys would think about that. If you guys would like to see us create primarily the videos that you want to see are State of Decay 3, or if you guys are cool with seeing a number of different videos, or if you want to see us focus State of Decay 3 in terms of the videos, and then the live streams can be a number of different horror games, right? Things within the horror universe. You know, I'd be really interested to kind of hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. But other than that, though, guys, even though we didn't get State of Decay 3 release date, and, you know, everybody's wondering, where is State of Decay 3 at this point? Well, you know, it's not here yet, unfortunately, guys. We don't have a release date yet. We're still kind of clinging on to hope that State of Decay 3 will be releasing in 2026 from the, you know, delay that happened from, you know, 2025 to 2026. You know, Undead Labs, they delayed the game, and we're hoping that they're able to stick to a 2026 release date. And if you were to ask me when I believe they're going to release it, I thought, guys, if you guys watch our videos, I had mentioned that I thought we were going to get something at the Xbox Game Showcase about State of Decay 3, and I thought that they were going to announce the release date, or show a release date trailer for State of Decay 3, showing like a January, February, or March release date of 2026 for State of Decay 3. I no longer believe that's going to happen. I think unless they do an Xbox showcase in the fall and they announce, you know, State of Decay 3 for, you know, Q1 of 2026, I don't think they're going to do that because it's just not a lot of time to plan. Naomi Barnes says, I think it will come out in early 2027. You might be right, Naomi. I'm still hoping that they come out with it in 2026, obviously because we've been waiting so long for the title. But if it's not ready yet, yes, wait until 2027. The issue I'm seeing, though, is if you go Q2 of 2026, so let's say they have an Xbox Game Showcase that they show fall of this year, and they announce State of Decay 3's release date for June of 2026. The problem I see with that is, number one, GTA 6 comes out in May. Nothing should be planning, you should not be planning a release date anywhere near GTA 6. The perfect launch date, I thought, was going to be like January, February, or March of 2026. The fall of 2026 would work, potentially, depending on how they do the release schedule. The only thing that you got to be really careful about, if you're going to release State of Decay 3 in fall of 2026, there's a couple of games that I believe are going to be coming out in 2026 around the fall. Number one would be another Xbox title or IP, Gears of War E-Day. Unless E-Day gets pushed to 2027 or something of that nature, I think Gears of War E-Day is going to release fall of 2026. I think more specifically like October of 2026, like a Halloween release, makes a lot of sense to me for a Gears of War E-Day release. The other thing you have to think about, though, is Call of Duty. Obviously, Call of Duty is notoriously coming out every single year, pretty much around October or November every year. Now, State of Decay 3 is not anything like COD. State of Decay 3 is really nothing like Gears either. And so the issue, though, I see, though, is Xbox, like, releasing two of their games near each other. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, if you're, like, a couple of months apart, maybe, like, say you release State of Decay 3 in September, and then November you release Gears, I don't know. I don't love that too much. I think that you want to keep them kind of spread somewhat. Now, if they're both going to just be, day one on Xbox Game Pass, people can kind of go back and forth. I just think overall, you want to kind of spread your games out a little bit. So that'll be really interesting. Virus says it really sucks we didn't get anything on SOD 3. Yes, I agree, man. It's unfortunate. But once again, from our live stream yesterday, where we were, we did a watch party on the Xbox Games Showcase. Jeff, who was on the show, my co-host, he had mentioned just trust the process. Kind of like Dead Island 2 was the example that he brought up. Dead Island 2 had the amount of development hell it went through was crazy. Changing hands and this and that, and everyone was like, dude, there is huge concern here, panic button, like massive concern. And then it released, and the zombie character models were some of the best we've ever seen, like in that time, right? So sometimes you just have to trust the process. That's it. I think we've got, even though we haven't gotten anything this year, right? We had the Xbox Game Showcase, what was it, last year that we got trailer 2? If we hadn't gotten that, and we got to this Xbox Game Showcase, and we still got nothing on State of Decay 3, since the release of the first trailer back in 2020, there's reason to hit the panic button. I think that there's still a possibility we could see it next year. I think it's starting to dwindle slightly unless they have an Xbox Game Showcase this year in the fall and they show Gears of War E-Day for next, because we didn't get a Gears of War E-Day release date either. So is it coming out fall of next year? So those are things that we're kind of wondering, right? But State of Decay 3, I'm still going to hold on to, we're going to see it next year. I don't believe we're going to see it in the beginning of the year, though, now. I thought it was going to be beginning of the year of 2026. I thought they were going to announce that yesterday. They didn't. And so I think we're going to see it fall of 2026. And I'm going to hold on to that. But once again, guys, we are going to be breaking down everything State of Decay 3 for you as we go here. We're going to be creating a ton of content on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of the, State of Decay 3 content right here on Horror Theory. We're certainly going to be talking about Resident Evil Requiem. We'll be talking about Ill. We'll be talking about other horror games. We'll probably be playing some other horror games. But State of Decay 3 is the focus, because I know a lot of you, most of you, are here for State of Decay 3 because you guys are passionate about this thing. You're passionate about State of Decay, and, so are we. We're very, very passionate about State of Decay 3. What I want to talk about, though, next, guys, is a game that did get announced. I shouldn't say got announced, but we got a beta announcement at the Xbox Game Showcase. That was Gears of War Reloaded. We got a beta announcement, even though, like, during the Xbox Showcase, guys, we're watching it, and it was kind of funny because they showed us the trailer for Gears of War Reloaded. They showed us all this really cool stuff. they showed us 4K resolution, 120 frames per second for Gears of War Reloaded, but they didn't show us the beta. And I was like, wait a second. So they're not going to release a beta when the game comes out in 2 months and it has multiplayer included in it. That could be a disaster if you don't have a beta where you kind of see, like, make sure everything's well refined, polished, things of that nature. Well, on social media, they did announce the beta, and the Gears of War Reloaded beta, guys, is going to be available this upcoming weekend, starting on Friday. And I want to switch screens here so you guys can see this. I'm really excited about this because we're going to be able to get our hands on a title. Now, look, Gears of War, guys, is going to be, obviously, it's different than State of Decay, but Gears of War, even though it's primarily a shooter, it has horror elements in it. And so I'm really excited about that. And obviously, some of you might not know this, but the Coalition is helping Undead Labs with State of Decay 3. So that's really exciting. Even though State of Decay 3 should not be helping Undead Labs. Like, State of Decay 3 should be, Undead Labs should be able to handle all of their shit in-house. But that's neither here nor there. We're not really going to get into that. But nonetheless, the Coalition is helping out Undead Labs with State of Decay 3. Naomi says, well, I know this will be worth the wait. I'm totally with you. I think it will be worth the wait, without question, Naomi. This is the wrong screen. Here we go. Okay. Lucid Dreams played The Last of Us, State of Decay 1, 2. I don't want to play another game. Just like opening other games and closing after 20 or 30. Yeah. Those are some really good games, man. The Last of Us is, in my personal opinion, the greatest PlayStation exclusive ever made. I absolutely love The Last of Us. It's great. I've actually got Ellie back here on the wall in Zero Dark. And then, obviously, State of Decay is incredible. Without question. Love State of Decay. And obviously that's what we cover on Horror Theory. We prioritize State of Decay 3 because so many of you guys and girls love State of Decay 3, or I should say love State of Decay, and you're coming back for more. And so we're going to be creating a lot of State of Decay content. But let's talk about Gears of War Reloaded and this beta. So this is an article coming to us from Xbox Era. Solidus Kraken over there, guys. Gears of War Reloaded beta will have access this weekend. Japan PS5 release is halted. So over the weekend, publisher Xbox Game Studios announced that a special weekend beta access for their coming remaster Gears of War Reloaded would go live on the 13th of June for anyone who pre-orders the game on PC via Steam, Xbox PC, Xbox Series, Play Anywhere supported, and PlayStation 5 consoles. The game will, of course, launch into Game Pass when it drops on the 26th of August and is another way to get into the beta. So I'm going to be dropping in, without question, guys, jumping into the beta immediately when that releases, because although we didn't get any State of Decay 3 news, Gears of War Reloaded, and by the way, guys, I cover Gears of War on my personal YouTube channel. That's Animal Zero. You guys can check out all the Gears of War content. If you guys love Gears, go check that out. We focus on Gears there. On Horror Theory, we prioritize, horror games. And yes, Gears of War does have horror elements in it. I know it's a shooter, but anyways, pre-order Gears of War Reloaded digitally. You can have active Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass membership. These are the ways that you'll be able to play the beta, guys. And then own a digital copy of Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Multiplayer beta access for Gears of War Ultimate Edition owners must have purchased Gears of War Ultimate Edition prior to May 5th, 2025. So here's when the beta is going to be running. So we got multiplayer beta weekend 1, runs June 13th to the 15th, and features a social multiplayer experience in the classic team deathmatch mode across 3 maps, including the fan favorite Gridlock, as well as Raven Down and Gold Rush. Super excited about that, man. I can't wait to get into Gridlock. Friday, June 13th from 7 to Sunday, June 15th at 7 o'clock p.m. Then we got the second beta, guys. The second beta weekend runs June 20th to the 22nd, and adds the competitive King of the Hill mode on the map Canals being added to the mix, along with the map's Courtyard and War Machine for use in Team Deathmatch. Friday, June 20th from 7 to Sunday, June 22nd at 7 o'clock p.m. Okay, so this is an interesting note, guys. Look, over on the Xbox Wire Japan blog, and let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, are you guys going to be jumping into the the Gears of War Reloaded beta? Are you guys going to be jumping into that and trying it out and seeing what you think? This is the first time that Gears of War is going multi-platform, cross-platform with PlayStation users as well as Xbox. So excited about this because now, guys, this kind of gives us a little bit of a sneak peek of what could be coming with State of Decay. Because State of Decay, I don't know if it's going to be, State of Decay 3, but could Gears of War Reloaded be giving us a sneak peek into the future of State of Decay, where State of Decay becomes cross-platform, multi-platform? Could State of Decay become accessible to more players than ever before? Not just Xbox, but also PlayStation. Gears of War may be giving us that, blueprint or that sneak peek to that. And so I'll be interested to know if you guys are planning on playing the Gears of War Reloaded beta. Over on the Xbox Wire Japan blog, the company has stated that due to regional rating decisions and platform policies, Gears of War Reloaded will no longer launch on PlayStation 5 consoles in Japan. Interested players from the country will have to play the game through Xbox Series consoles or PC via Steam and Xbox PC app. Look, I don't know if it's bizarre or fascinating. I don't even, this is really wild to me that they're, regional rating decisions and platform policies. I'm wondering if it's because of the gore, violence, the strong language. That's really interesting. But nonetheless, I'm excited, guys, about Gears of War Reloaded and what this could encompass for. It's not really, look, let's bring it in, guys. Let's bring it in. Guys, girls, Gears of War Reloaded is not designed for Xbox. It's not. Because we've had Gears of War 1 when it came out back in 2006. And we've also had Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which of course was, Gears of War 1 and 2 remastered. This is specifically for PlayStation. And yes, it's for Xbox users to quench our thirst while we wait for Gears of War E-Day. That's at least what I think. I don't see it any other way. If you have an Xbox and you've wanted to play Gears, you would have already played it at this point, more than likely. Now, maybe Gears of War Reloaded is like your first, you're like, you know what? It looks really good. It's remastered 4K, 120 frames per second in multiplayer. It's cross-platform now. I'm going to give Gears a try now. But this is mainly for PlayStation. And I think it's a sign of what is to come in the future. That being, Gears of War E-Day will launch day one on Xbox Game Pass, obviously on Xbox, as well as PlayStation. And I believe that Gears of War E-Day will be the biggest Gears of War title of all time. And I don't even think it's going to be close. Because now that you're adding PlayStation for Gears of War Reloaded, I think you could make a case that Gears of War E-Day will also be on PlayStation, which I believe you're just expanding the franchise, the fan base. And a lot of Xbox users are like, dude, this is not good. We don't want PlayStation to have access to Gears of War because what is PlayStation giving to Xbox users? Look, guys, what Xbox is doing is they're kind of creating a truce. They're like, hey, look, we're going to give you guys, that being PlayStation, some of what have been Xbox exclusives of ours. Gears of War, potentially Halo, potentially State of Decay, potentially whatever, Fable, a number of other, titles. Maybe, just maybe, PlayStation will do the same. It's hard to say right now. I'm not saying that PlayStation's going to give Xbox all of their exclusives, but would they, it's kind of like, Let me give you an example. If you came into Zero Dark right now, okay, to play some games, if you came in here and you want to play, or, you know, whatever, you want to create some content in here, whatever it might be, and let's say I give you a free hour of play. Free hour, okay? And by the way, I do this all the time. But if I give you a free hour of play, you're going to be like, man, dude, that's awesome. Thanks so much for a free hour of play. But in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, he gave me something. Now I want to give back to him. So maybe you're like, okay, you gave me a free hour. I'm going to stay for 2 hours. So I'm going to pay for the second hour, right? You're going to want to get, like, you almost, if you're given something from somebody, especially if it's like basically for free, you want to give back. At least most people do, right? So from a PlayStation perspective, you're giving us Gears of War, one of your biggest flagship titles of all time. PlayStation very well might be like, you know what, dude? Let's give them Xbox, or let's give them God of War. Or, hey, you know what? Let's give them the Legacy Collection of Uncharted, you know, or something like that. Like, give them a remaster of The Last of Us or something like that, right? I'm not saying that it's for sure going to happen, but I definitely think that there is a absolute possibility that they're creating a truce, and who knows? I was talking to Jeff, guys. This was off camera after the Xbox Game Showcase, and he was telling me that he thinks that there is a world. He thinks, I should say, that Xbox and PlayStation, there's a world where they merge. Because let's put it like this. You have Nintendo, right? They're selling the most consoles out of anybody, and it's not even close. Xbox Series X and S, they sold reportedly 33 million units, okay? PlayStation 5 sold 75 million units. And then the Nintendo Switch, 120 million units and counting. So let's put it like this. Xbox is getting absolutely mollywopped. They're getting dog-walked right now by PlayStation and completely annihilated by Nintendo. PlayStation is getting crushed by Nintendo as well. So what would be a perfect, solution to that problem if they look at it as a problem? PlayStation, Xbox merge to create one console that has Steam built into it. PlayStation, Xbox, now Nintendo, you're in trouble. And could we be leading into that? I don't know. But this might be the first step, that being Xbox doing something as simple as, hey, here is Gears of War reloaded, day one, you guys can download it. I don't know. The logistics of that would be very complicated because you have Sony, a publicly traded company. You have Microsoft, a publicly traded company. But Mr. 420J says, yeah, you're tripping, wanting Xbox to keep giving games to PlayStation while PlayStation isn't even trying to give us nothing, not even the older games. Okay, well, listen, Jay. Here's the thing. You have to be, if you're the first one to give something, they may not give it to you right away. It's like investing in the stock market. If I invest $35 right now into Bank of America, I'm not expecting to make instant money. I'm not expecting to make $1 right now. Over time, though, I'm going to get 25 cents every single quarter in a dividend from that one share. So over the course of time, I'm going to make some money back from that share. And then if I buy more shares and more shares, and so what I'm saying is that you're not going to see it right now. More than likely, PlayStation is not just going to give us everything or anything right now. But give it a year. Come back and, we can talk about it if they don't give us anything in a year, 2 years. What I'm saying is, the more that Xbox gives, if PlayStation doesn't give back, well, then maybe Xbox is like, okay, well, you know what? Call of Duty is now an exclusive to Xbox. GG's, bro. Mic drop. It's over. PlayStation riots. They decide to, like sue Xbox and this and that. So Xbox has the power right now. They have power because they have one of the the biggest franchise you could argue of all time in Call of Duty. And all it would take is to say, yeah, it's not coming to PlayStation anymore. Now Call of Duty is Xbox exclusive with the next gen hardware that we're bringing out or whatever. So it's a matter of time. Give it time. But I have a feeling, guys, that Xbox is creating the truce. PlayStation will follow suit at some point, and if they don't, Xbox has all of Bethesda. They bought Bethesda. So Elder Scrolls 6, hey man, no longer, it's not going to be on PlayStation. Like, they could crush PlayStation, like, and really hurt them majorly as soon as this year if they wanted. Like, they could do it like with Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Now, that would be a terrible idea to do that right now. But I'm just saying, like, they have a lot of power. And yeah, they're behind right now on sales. They're behind, on like consoles sold and player count and stuff like that. But they've got more power than what people realize, for sure. Someday in the future, I just hope all our games don't end up on PlayStation. They're going to be tactical about it, man. They're going to be tactical. They're not just going to give them everything. They're going to kind of throw a bone, right? PlayStation is going to eat it up, and then they're going to be like, okay. Gears of War now is one of the biggest third-person shooters that PlayStation has in their catalog because Gears is one of the biggest games of all time for Xbox. So now it's going to PlayStation as well as Xbox. PlayStation's going to see that and they're going to be like, okay, this is awesome. And Xbox is probably going to be like, hey guys, there's more to where that came from. We got this game coming out called Gears of War E-Day. It's our next big flagship game within the Gears of War universe. So, hey, like, what would you think about you guys release Intergalactic on Xbox? We'll give you E-Day or whatever. I'm just kind of throwing out scenarios here. Halo, we've got this big franchise called Halo. Fable, we've got, Perfect Dark. We have, we got Elder Scrolls 6. We have all these games that are coming. Let's put something into writing right now. That way you guys benefit, we benefit. Maybe State of Decay 3, maybe if they make another Last of Us title, that comes to Xbox. Uncharted. I mean, there's a number, God of War, Death Stranding. Like, there's a lot of ways that they could work it where it'd be beneficial for both of them. What I'm saying is there is a truce that is happening currently in the console wars, and it could actually go from truce to partnership if Xbox and PlayStation put their heads together and decide, yo, let's make a super console and let's take down Nintendo. And I think that Nintendo at that point would have massive competition. But let me know what you guys think about that. I would love to hear your thoughts about it, guys, in the comment section down below. Here's the next thing, though. In terms of Gears of War, guys, to kind of round this out with Gears of War E-Day, I believe, is going to be the biggest Gears of War title of all time. And I don't even think it's going to be close now that it's going to be on Xbox as well as PlayStation. And I think Gears of War Reloaded is going to be huge for Xbox, but I also think it's going to be huge for PlayStation. I think it'll be massive. I really do. And so that will be a game that can quench our thirst for Gears of War E-Day. It can be another game that can quench our thirst for State of Decay 3. Even though they're in different genres, the Coalition is working on State of Decay 3. They're working with Undead Labs on State of Decay 3. So, like I said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot more content in the future. So if you guys have not already, check out all of our content on Horror Theory. If you guys are interested in the gear that we're using, we're getting a lot of people asking about the different gear that we're using. I put a link to all the gear that we use in the description down below. And there's a lot of content coming, guys. Lots of content. We're adding things to our memberships as well. So all of our new members, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining us on this journey as we go. Get some like emojis, different like loyalty badges. We're updating those things as we go, and there's a lot of different perks for joining Horror Theory. But with that being said, Jojo says this was great. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother, as always, for being here. Guys, thank you so much for being here. As always, we will see you guys all in the next one. More live streams are coming on Horror Theory. More content is coming onto Horror Theory and all of our channels, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you as always. I hope you guys have a great, outstanding rest of your day or night. Stay positive. Just keep grinding. And as always, I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace out, guys.